Hello and welcome to my Self Talks. Today's topic will be about how we should treat our children and especially teenagers. We all have been at the teenage age at some point of our physical evolution. It is not possible for you to be an adult and not go through this teenage age. So that's a good news because we all have the memories inside of our physical body about this age. We all remember. Sometimes we do not anymore remember consciously because, to be honest, for most of us, teenage age has been slightly traumatic and difficult age to handle. So we tend to erase from our conscious mind memories that aren't that pleasant for us, and instead of these real memories that happened, we tend to replace them with some pleasant memories, let's say, or just nothing at all. So that's why a lot of adults at some point of their life forget how was it when they were teenagers, and then they do not have the understanding to the people that are in the teenage age right now. Teenage age, you can understand it as age from, let's say, 12 to not just 19, it can be even till 21. Is a bridge from the childhood to the adult age, and let's say adult world also, because as children we do have very playful nature. As adults, sometimes we do not have such playful nature, but we do have a lot of responsibilities. Well, and the teenagers, they bridge this playfulness and the responsibilities. They come from this open and innocent state of the childhood where all this chemistry in your body starts to function very differently. When you're a teenager, you start to evolve physically very quickly, and to be honest, the whole energetical system is like a time bomb. There's a lot of information that your body and your emotional body and even your energetical body needs to process every single day. You go through not even physical changes, a lot of opinions about the adult world are being formed because you suddenly do realize a certain power inside of you that you can change the adult world. You can be part of it, you can work in it, and you can share your opinions and enrich the others by that. And this also forms sort of responsibility. You maybe do not remember it if you're an adult now, but a lot of teenagers have a lot of responsibility in themselves, and they just do not have the tools how to manifest this responsibility, so they behave highly irresponsibly. So for everybody that is adult, it is very needed to understand this energetical potential, because if somebody wants to work innerly, if they feel the energy to do that, then just your responsibility is to introduce them in your world, but do not introduce them the words of your world. You know, do not take all the fun out of the work, but instead of that, teach them, give them tools, teach them some practical stuff they can use. Because already when you are a teenager, you should manifest this growing energy some practical way that it would serve to you, to your evolution, but also to the evolution of everybody around you. And if you are an adult and you have a teenager on your responsibility, if you're a parent or you teach, or you just simply have some teenagers in your neighborhood, because we all are responsible for our children. It necessarily doesn't mean that when you are not a parent or a teacher that you are not responsible for the next generation. You are very responsible for everybody in this planet, and just the thing that we all have the memories, that means we should access the memories of how we felt as teenagers, what we needed the most, what we didn't have, what we didn't like about adults. And all these memories we still have inside of us. So now when you're an adult, you can just simply become an adult that the teenagers do not like, that you wouldn't like if you were a teenager. Or you can become an adult that you wished to have around when you were a teenager, that you wanted around you. A support, a teacher that acknowledges your value, that respects you as a human being, that sees your potential and knows what to do with this potential practically, gives you practical tools and leads you to practical actions that influences not only your own evolution but everybody around. You lead these young people and you lead them to understand what's going on in them, what's going on with their body, what's going on with their mind, and you should lead them to understand them, their potential. And that means you should primarily be open. If you have a lot of self-limiting beliefs and you want to teach somebody, you are necessarily transmitting these beliefs onto your students or children. So primarily, if you want to be responsible towards the next generation, work on yourself. If you have some wounds to heal, heal it. But do not transfer your own traumas and your own wounds onto the next generation, because this is the most irresponsible and unfortunately the most common thing we do in this world. And that's why our evolution doesn't happen that quickly as it could. So it is very needed to be stable. If you're an adult and you deal with a teenager, you should be as stable as a rock. Nothing can move you from your center, because if you're dealing with energetical bomb, you should be have solved issues inside of you, so that the bomb wouldn't mirror your own things, issues. So if you do not want to be triggered by a teenager, then solve your own issues. And if you do not have it solved, just do not act reactively immediately. You can get angry about what teenagers are saying to you or how they are behaving, but they simply form the way of communicating. So by being very extreme, they actually form the boundaries and explore the boundaries. So if you let them explore this process, they will definitely, and if you lead them with calm mind, calm heart, and support, and love and respect towards what they do, they want to do it as smoothly as possible as everybody around. So they will not act against you if they know they have a support in you. So if you want to speak with teenagers, firstly, speak with huge respect, because they are the bridge between the childhood and the adolescence, and they are the bridge between the new and the old, and that is an immense pressure. That means they all are also innerly very fragile. I think that this might be it for today. What I wanted to stress was the importance of the calm mind. And yes, it is very long time when you are a teenager. So if you have a teenager at home, you might sometimes feel a little bit desperate that it never ends, this behavior. But be patient. Everything has fruits in the end when it's its own time. So just trust their own process. And meanwhile, if you have hardship to cope with these explosions of emotions, try to ground yourself. Work on your own stability. That is your work if you have a teenager at home. Because if you are rooted, if you have the stability, then you are the best support the teenager could ever think of. So this is something practical I wanted to speak about today. And it is also very important to teach teenagers practical tools, practical habits, practical physical, not even information, but abilities, so that they could use it when they're adult. Because what they learn at this point, they will probably repeat in their early adulthood, and sometimes even in their not that early adulthood. So grow habits in them that you do want them to have in their work. Grow habits that build skills, build intelligence, build empathy, and deduction skills. Just grow habits that are good for them with patience and support. And I know you can do it, because we all went through this stage and we survived. So even when you're a teenager or you are an adult, you can go through this stage the easiest possible. If you know that this is the bridge that it's needed to walk on to get to the other side. So I thank you for watching this video and see you soon. Bye.